Welcome into Fantasy Filmball. My name is Matt, this is Dyl, and this is a show where we turn movies into sports and sports into something that we don't talk about. So, next up in our final Oscar predictions, we're going to be talking about the tech categories. So we've broken this down into VFX, cinematography, sound, and editing. And Dylan, you're going to start us off today. You're taking visual effects right here.
Visual effects is a category I feel pretty good about. I think this is a pretty safe 5 for 5 here. I know some people would be like, well, where's your MCU movie? They always get one in. Well, MCU got 0 at VES, and even when they don't make the Oscars, they get in there. So to me, that automatically knocks out Doctor Strange and Black Panther from contention. There's a little chance I could see Jurassic World Dominion sneaking in. However, my top 5, Avatar: The Way of Water, Top Gun: Maverick, The Batman, All Quiet on the Western Front, and 13 Lives. I heard 13 Lives had a great bake-off, and All Quiet is going to get this additional nomination. I feel like this is the easiest one for it to get just in general outside of the international feature, where at the minimum I feel like it's getting visual effects and international feature.
I don't know about that. I don't have All Quiet in because reading about its visual effects presentation, it seems like they mostly focused on showing the smoke effects that they used, as well as the tanks. Those were the two takeaways that were there. And smoke effects, that doesn't sound like something that's a VFX nomination. Whereas what I heard was that people started cheering and screaming and yelling when Jurassic World had their presentation, and they showed off some of the miniatures that they used and the way that they shot an entire action sequence without a single one of the principal actors there. That, to me, that feels like a possible nomination. Of course, all the way back at the start of our channel, we started talking about how Jurassic World was not going to get shortlisted for the VFX Oscar or a nomination. But right now, I've got this in my top 5. I've got it in at slot 5 over All Quiet on the Western Front. So I completely agree with you on Avatar, Top Gun, Batman, and 13 Lives. All of those apparently had amazing presentations. But then I have Jurassic World at the end. But one thing I'm going to say is these presentations, they can move us in the wrong way. We heard a couple of years ago about Soul having one of the most amazing presentations that you could imagine. It just being like a breathtaking presentation. We heard last year about Welcome to Chechnya having a fantastic presentation that prompted a ton of questions from the audience. But ultimately, when we read these reports on the bake-off, they're always going to be biased to the person who's writing them. So maybe the guy who wrote it was super into 13 Lives, was super into Jurassic World's presentations. That doesn't mean that all the voters will, and maybe his perception of the room is colored by that.
Looking at Jurassic World, the first one's, not Oscar Hall, but just nomination hall in general, it did pick up 2 VES nominations, but it did not end up getting the Oscar or the BAFTA. And that movie was pretty well liked. This one is not, and I just don't see this one to be the one of the 3 to get the nomination out there. While on the other hand, VES
did it get
goes
one of the main VES nominations though, or did it?
Looking at here, it got outstanding created environment for a photoreal feature and outstanding models in a photoreal and animated project.
That doesn't count because if that counted, then we'd say Black Panther was still safe. What Jurassic World this one got, it got one of the main because there's the nominations from VES that really matter are outstanding featured visual effects and outstanding supporting visual effects. And featured VFX, the nominees there were Avatar, Top Gun, The Batman, Jurassic World, and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And then in supporting, it was a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter, and then 13 Lives.
Yeah. To me, VES always goes 4 for 5, so you have to pick 4 here. Obviously, you have Way of Water, Maverick, Batman, and then to me, it's take your pick. 13 Lives, Jurassic World, Fantastic Beast. Fantastic Beast, 1 got in, 2 missed. 3, that would be the least of the ones I would have here. Dominion makes sense, but also just with how much raves the 13 Lives ones got. And this is a movie that, why would it make the shortlist? That's what everyone's reaction was. And the fact that it made the shortlist shows there is passion for this. And that passion, I think, carries over to the Oscar. And that means our 5 slot is open. That's where maybe an MC movie could get in. But no MC movie has ever gotten in without VES. So to me, that knocks both of them off. And that just leaves you with Nope versus All Quiet. Nope's a movie that seems destined to be, this had an Oscar buzz but didn't get anything, and it's like one of those where, how did this not get a single Oscar? Well, All Quiet's a movie that's showing up in other categories. So to me, it's an easy slide in for that 4 slot. And then 5 is, I'm kind of at a toss for 13 Lives and Dominion, but I'm leaning more 13 Lives.
That, you know what, that makes sense. If we're going off of the stats, 4 out of 5 would make sense, and I'm currently predicting 5 out of 5, so maybe I should put in All Quiet over Jurassic World right here, but Jurassic World just feels right to me right now.
Well, we move from a category where you don't have All Quiet to one I'm pretty sure you do, and that is Best Sounds.
I do. And I've had All Quiet for a very long time. War movies always get in the sound category. It just happens. It's like having a race car in a movie. It's gonna get into sound. Like it's just there. So my top 3, which I think we can agree with, it's Top Gun: Maverick, Elvis, Avatar: The Way of Water. Then from there, I've got All Quiet on the Western Front, which I'm sure that at this point we probably both agree with. But number 5 is where it gets a little bit tricky. And it could be Babylon. I don't think so, because Babylon needs to underperform, and it can't be Babylon. It could be The Batman, which is getting a lot of nominations, actually. And yeah, it's the one that I'd presume you have. But if Everything Everywhere All at Once is number 1 or 2 for editing, it needs to be in for sound. And that's why I've got Everything Everywhere All at Once at my number 5 slot right here.
I definitely agree with that thinking. I think it's more if you have Everything Everywhere at 1 for editing, it has to be in sound. I don't have that 1 for editing, and that's why I don't have it here. So I fully respect and get why you have it and why other people have it. I'm leaning more towards Batman because I think Maverick has editing locked up, and therefore Everything Everywhere doesn't need the sound nomination. But as I mentioned before, ties can easily switch. That can easily win editing. It can overperform, as I mentioned before, and this is a category where it's on the bubble, 5, 6, and if it overperforms, it's in. If it underperforms, it's out. Batman, to me, as you mentioned, has gotten everything, but at the same time, that would be the one to seem to miss because Elvis is a Best Picture movie, Way of Water seems like it's a Best Picture movie, and All Quiet also is the war movie, it's the racing movie. You can make the case, hey, Mavericks are a racing movie of the year, but they've taken 2 racing or 2 war movies in a single year, that doesn't stop them. So to me, Everything Everywhere Batman's your 5 slot. If you have Everything Everywhere winning editing, you have it in. If you don't, maybe you take Batman.
Yep, yeah, and that's where we're at, right? So we're just gonna see right here, and you know, with how this is gonna go, if Everything Everywhere doesn't get into sound, I can't predict it to win editing anymore. So, well, I'm just gonna hope and pray that we can see it in here. But let's take it off to the next category, because we got cinematography, and I know that you're hoping and praying for something that seems like it's coming true.
Well, what you just said, hoping and predicting and praying, that's exactly what I'm doing with cinematography, because this is a category I have no clue what to do, because ASC really threw us for a loop, because ASC has a long history of going 4 out of 5. You need to go a pretty far ways back to get a 3 out of 5 here. And ASC nominated Maverick, Elvis, Batman, Empire of Light, and Bardo. So if you take at the minimum 3 out of 5, that's Maverick, Elvis, and Batman, because they also showed up at the British Cinematographers Society. You know what else also showed up there? Empire of Light. So to me, that's our 4 out of 5.
Empire of Light did not show up at the British one. It showed up at BAFTA, but not BSC.
Okay. Yeah. But scratch that.
Yeah.
I got my 2 British awards confused looking here at my little notes.
That's all good, dude.
So Maverick, Elvis, Batman, I think is your 3.
Yeah.
4, I still put Empire of Light just because it still got the BAFTA. Roger Deakins has shown before he can get in for movies that get nothing else, and pains me because I think this is one of his worst looking movies in a long time, but that's neither here nor there. Our 5 slot, though, there's 2 movies I would really like here. One would be a big stat breaker. The other one hasn't really gotten anything so far, or I guess technically they both haven't really gotten anything. Just one has ASC and one doesn't. So I'm going to go with the one that doesn't have ASC, because ASC doesn't make sense to go 5 out of 5. So I'm going The Way of Water at my 5 slot. Bardo is at my 6, though. And then I have All Quiet, Fablements, and Banshees as all possible upsets getting in.
So I'm going to eat my fucking words from like 2 days ago when I said that there's no goddamn way that ASC goes 4 out of 5, as they always do. They always go 4 out of 5. Because I said that I was like, oh, ASC is going 2 for 5. They're only getting Top Gun and Elvis. Well, here we are. BAFTA nominations are announced, and they went 4 for 5 with BAFTA. So I have to agree. I'm going Top Gun, Elvis, Batman, Empire of Light. I'm going 4 for 5 with ASC. But where we differ is that last one. You have Avatar. I'm going to say that I have The Fablemans. And the reason I have The Fablemans right here is it's because of Janusz Kaminski. He gets in for everything. He is a legacy cinematographer that gets in all over the place. I think that the reason why we're seeing Avatar miss here is because of the high frame rate, if I'm being honest. I think that's why, because they're pushing that new technology so hard and it's not really landing with people. I could also see an angle for All Quiet, but here's one that I think that you are overlooking a bit too much. Tar. Tar got in at the BSC. Tar got in... Was it in the Critics' Choice for cinematography?
I think for Tar to get in, ASC has to go 3 out of 5. Empire Light has to miss for Tar to get in. And if that happens, sure. I'm at the moment saying it's 4 out of 5 for ASC, and then everything else I have kind of listed that I said are my 5 slots that the ASC didn't pick, or somehow they go 5 out of 5.
No, granted, I don't have Tar in my 5 either. But Tar is very close, and if we see like a weird upset, it could be Tar right here. But I go 4 out of 5 with you, and I just swap out Avatar for The Fablemans.
I definitely could see that. I'm just holding on for dear life with The Way of Water. I would say maybe it's the high frame rate. I also think that the issue is people just think the whole movie's animated. They don't think that they actually shot on location or on set or anything like that.
The first one won cinematography.
And I think,
so like,
and I think what it is people like in retrospect being like, well, was that an actual cinematography movie? I would say yes, because you're still shooting. But others would be like, no, it's all anime. Because I've seen some pundits and stuff, like they make their end of the year list and they jokingly put, oh, my favorite anime movie of the year is The Way of Water. Like, no, it's not an animated movie. They still shot on sets and they shot on stuff. Maybe the majority of it is VFX, but they still shot on like a boat and they still shot on this thing or that thing. Just some of the stuff is not actually there. But to me, I would put it in, and I'm still going to hold it. That will probably be one, like I mentioned before, with the Mahershala Ali, where I'm just predicting it, and it's not going to happen. I may die on that ship.
Yeah. But to that logic, does that mean that Rango is not an animated movie because they shot it on sets with real actors?
You know, that's a question for all those people out there saying that Avatar is a animated movie. But yeah,
Rango.
That's... Before ASC, I would have said Banshees could have got in for cinematography, but without ASC, I don't really see it getting in because, like I said before, ASC is going 4 out of 5, and if they don't go Avatar, then I feel like it's All Quiet, and if they don't go All Quiet, then it's Fablemans, and Banshees would be like 4th down that list.
Yeah, with Banshees there, I just don't see Banshees happening. If Banshees couldn't get a cinematography nomination at BAFTA, I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, that's how I felt as well, but... You mentioned before, you have Everything Everywhere All at Once winning editing, so let's hear the rest of your lineup.
Okay, so at number 1 and 2, got the undeniables, Everything Everywhere, Top Gun Maverick. Of course, the stat is that Top Gun should be number 1 because it's winning sound, but I've got Everything Everywhere All at Once at number 1 because it's so goddamn bombastic, it's so in your face. How do you watch this movie and not go, oh yes, this is the best editing of the year? How do you not? But then at number 3, I'm sure we both agree that Elvis is right here. And after that, I have some toss-ups that I'm just not exactly sure what to do with. So at number 4, I've got the Banshees of Inisherin. And I think that this is going to be either the Banshees of Inisherin or the Fablemans, but it cannot be both. So
agree.
I've got those two right there. Then I'm really torn about this final spot right here. I could see it being Babylon. Babylon is very big, it's very loud, it has a lot of edits going on, but Babylon is not doing too well. It could be Avatar: The Way of Water, which has sound on its side. It has the action element of it. It's a big blockbuster that they really could go for if they want to champion that type of filmmaking. It could be Tar. Tar is very slow. It uses its editing very carefully, very methodically. It could appeal to some of the artsier people in this branch. But I think my pick right now is going to have to be All Quiet on the Western Front. The war movie, the one that is really, really peaking at the moment. But yeah, I think I'm going to be battling in my head between these two for a very long time, between Tar and All Quiet. And I don't necessarily know which one it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I have the same top 3, and then my 4th slot is either Banshees or Fablemans. I am leaning Banshees at the moment, just because I feel like that film maybe needs it more than Fableman's does. And then the 5 slot, I'm between Way of Water and All Quiet. I'm leaning Way of Water, but as you mentioned, All Quiet is peaking, and it's a war movie, and war movies sometimes do well. Tar, I could see slip in, and honestly, I could see a world where Tar gets in, and Fableman's and Banshees both miss.
Yeah,
I think that's more
too.
likely than Tar taking the Avatar / All Quiet spot. Babylon to me is dead. Once Elvis became a thing, that killed Babylon in this category. They're the same type of editing, just Elvis. I say what you want. I think Elvis does it better. Elvis does the bombastic, the boldness, the sporadicness in your face way better than Babylon does. Even as someone who loves Babylon, the editing is the worst part of that movie.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. So you know what? I think I'm gonna lock Tar in as my 5th spot because I'm thinking now. I'm like, okay, All Quiet. When was I said the war film thing? But when was the last war movie that got nominated in editing? It was Hacksaw Ridge, which. God, now I'm just going back and forth because I'm like, okay, yeah, Hacksaw Ridge really did get in editing, but Hacksaw Ridge was much more. It was a Hollywood film. I don't know if All Quiet's gonna have visibility to make it here.
Yeah, that's why I have it out at the moment for Avatar.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about this more. I don't know what I'm going with. It'll probably be. I'll just make a decision. I'll have it. It's gonna be in the center of the two of us right now, but I don't know what it's going to be. It's either Tar or All Quiet for me.
Well, out there, let us know. What do you have at your 5 slot for editing? Do you have Tar? Do you have All Quiet? Do you have Avatar? Hopefully you have one of those. Hopefully you don't have like Babylon or Glass Onion. But who knows? Maybe I'm completely off.
They could have Banshees and Fablemans. They totally could, and that's fine. If that happens, I will be a fool.
I would be as well because I'm not predicting as either. But as I mentioned, let us know what you have out there. But until next time, my name's Dyl.
My name is Matt, and this has been Fantasy Filmball.